What's going on, guys? This is Sam, and today I want to talk about some of the latest Apple news that we've been hearing about. An iPhone SE 2 is reportedly coming sometime in 2018. Apple is preparing to celebrate World AIDS Day on December 1st, and Taylor Swift's new album should be coming to Apple Music very shortly. There's a lot to talk about, so let's go ahead and jump in. Up first, I'm so excited to be talking about this. If you guys have been following the channel for a while, you know I was a huge fan of the original iPhone SE. Economic Daily News reports that an iPhone SE 2 is set to debut sometime in 2018. Back in the summer, we got a report from TEKZ24 Text24 that reportedly gave us the specs for this phone. They reported an A10 Fusion chip, 2GB of RAM, 32 and 128GB storage capacities, 12 megapixel rear camera, 5 megapixel front camera, and a larger 1700 milliamp hour battery. So we don't know how good those specs are going to be or how accurate they are because they're pretty old. What we do know is that those are 2 or 3 sources now reporting that Apple is planning to launch a new iPhone SE 2 next year, which is super exciting for anybody that wants to upgrade from the first iPhone SE or that doesn't want a huge phone like the iPhone 8, the iPhone 8 Plus, or the iPhone 10. Now, the iPhone 10 has spoiled me when it comes to screen size. I told myself for the longest time I would never enjoy using a 5.5 inch or bigger screen, but there's something about this design that I just absolutely love. That being said, I still really love the iPhone SE. I am so excited for the iPhone SE 2. I'm sure Apple will probably do a February, March, or April event like they have done in the past in the spring of 2018. Now, in 2017, Apple didn't hold a spring event, but they did that weird press release series where they announced the 9.7-inch regular iPad and a couple of other things alongside the Product Red iPhone 7. We'll talk a little bit more about Product Red in a little bit, but they announced the Product Red iPhone 7. It was this really good looking iPhone. It was my favorite color of the iPhone 7 that we saw, and in March of the year before, in 2016, they had the Apple March event where they announced the iPhone SE. I would assume if Apple is releasing an entirely new version of the iPhone SE, they would probably hold some sort of an event in the first half of the year, but we don't know for sure. We don't have all the nitty and gritty details just yet, but it's a good sign. If you've been wanting an iPhone SE, we continue to hear that there's probably one coming, so stay tuned for that. Now, also rumored to be coming as early as 2018 is an Apple-made power management chip. Right now, this chip is leased out to a different company, but according to the Nike Asian Review, as early as 2018, Apple could be designing their own power management chip. Now, because it's so early in the game, we don't know a lot about this power management chip. I read one quote saying this could be the most advanced chip in the industry right now, but I could assume that if Apple's working on their own in-house power management chip, it would probably give us better battery life on future iPhones, which is obviously going to be good for everyone. We don't know that for sure, though. It's only speculation. We don't have a whole lot of information about this power management chip because it's only coming as early as 2018. It could be featured in 2018's iPhones like the iPhone 10 Plus, but we don't know for sure. I'm sure this is one of those iPhone rumors that we will continue to hear about, but right now we don't have a ton of information other than the fact that Apple is working on it and it will probably give us better battery life. Moving on, this next story is a fun one. You may have missed it this week, but pretty much one of the largest Mac security flaws in history was discovered by a user on Twitter that tweeted at Apple support Twitter account, like at Apple support, hey, if you type in root and hit enter, you can get root access to literally anyone on macOS High Sierra's computer without doing anything but typing in root and hitting enter once or twice. This will go down as one of the biggest Apple botches in history. How something this big slips by the dev team is kind of mind-blowing and kind of scary that this happened because anyone on macOS High Sierra on the latest version was affected and it just slipped under the radar. This was really concerning when I first heard about it. Obviously, something this big should never slip into a public release. Apple was really fast to fix the issue though. Within 24 hours at 8 a.m. the following day, they pushed out a public patch for the issue, went to the Mac App Store, the Updates tab, and you could update. It was kind of funny. At the very top of the update, it said, please install this immediately or install this update as soon as possible because it was a big security glitch. I've updated both of my computers. I would highly recommend you update both or all of your computers if you're running macOS High Sierra because it was a big issue. This whole situation makes me wonder though whether this has happened on Windows before and no one's noticed or in earlier versions of Mac software, not maybe this specific issue, but other big security flaws that nobody really noticed or that one person noticed and didn't know it was a glitch. This person knew it was a problem. They tweeted Apple support. I can't imagine the reaction of the person who replied to that mention, like, hey, you can hack any Mac on macOS High Sierra, just a heads up. Like, the Apple support person on the other end that was replying to that tweet probably had a meltdown, because that's obviously a huge issue, and it seems like Apple worked tirelessly throughout the night to fix this issue, because they had that patch ready by 8 a.m. the next day. There's probably not a whole lot of resting going on after the Apple security team found out that this issue was present. But it's fixed now. You should be fine if you've updated. Just something to keep in mind for the future. Hopefully other companies don't let these things slip through the cracks. Apple messed up. They fixed it, but it's still kind of concerning that it happened in the first place. Now, moving away from that last story that makes Apple look pretty bad from a security standpoint, there are two other things that Apple's doing that makes them look really good. The first is an Apple Watch heart study, where they're going to use the Apple Watch that you wear on your wrist, a Series 1 or newer, to track your heart rate, and if it's irregular, they'll give you a notification letting you know and set you up with like a specialist to talk to. It's a partnership with Stanford University that sounds like a really good idea. Apple described how it's going to work in their official press release. They say if an irregular heart rhythm is identified, participants will receive a notification on their Apple Watch and iPhone, a free consultation with a study doctor, and an ECG electrocardiogram patch for additional monitoring. The Apple Heart Study is available in the US App Store to customers who are 22 years or older and have an Apple Watch Series 1 or later. To me, this sounds like such a good idea. I wish other companies would use the biometric tech already in our phones and our wearables to study people's hearts or study the human body a little bit more closely, because we might never know that there's something wrong with us until our Apple Watch says, hey, your heart rate's going really, really low all the time, or really, really high, or it's constantly fluctuating between the two. That's something that we might not always feel, but if our technology is like, hey, that's happening, that could potentially save your life, which is something that I really respect Apple investing time and money into, because saving lives is obviously a really big deal. That's like a humanity issue, not even a technology issue at its core. I think it's so cool that Apple has partnered up with Stanford to do this study. I was actually going to sign up just to submit some random data to make sure I was okay, but I'm not 22 yet, so I can't. But if you are in the US, you're over 22 years old, and you're either like worried about something with your heart, or you know someone who this might be beneficial for, or if you just want to submit your own data and you're eligible to be in the study, go for it, try it out. I feel like it'd be a pretty cool experience, and let me know what you guys think about this one down below in the comments section. Alongside the Apple Watch study, Apple's also doing something else pretty commendable. On World AIDS Day, which is Friday, December 1st, they're going to be turning the Apple logo of over 400 Apple stores red, donating $1 of every single online, in-app, or retail location. When you make a purchase with Apple Pay, they're donating $1 of that to the Global Fund, and then they're also turning the App Store red. So a number of developers, just one that they pointed out in the official press release was King, who makes Candy Crush Saga, Candy Crush Jelly Saga, and Candy Crush Soda Saga. I feel like at this point it could just be the same game, but apparently there's 3 different versions now. There's going to be special in-app purchases inside of those apps on Friday, December 1st, and I would assume for a little while after that date as well. I think it's a smart idea to encourage more donations by giving users something out of the deal. Like, I know that sounds bad that, you have to get something to give a little bit, and that's not the way it should work, but I feel like that's the way it does work a lot. I know last year Supercell did some cool stuff with Clash Royale and Clash of Clans. Monument Valley had this really cool special level pack. I hope all of that comes back again, because I bought the one in Monument Valley. I think I bought one in Clash Royale. There's these small little bonuses that you get by donating, and I hate to say, it definitely helped that there was something that I got out of the deal for donating and giving money to the Global Fund through the in-app purchase, but I think that is a reality. If you know you're going to get something by donating money, I think everyone will always be a little bit more likely to donate, which is a smart idea on Apple's part. Finally, there is one last bit of news that I want to talk about. Taylor Swift's album Reputation is said to finally be rolling out on Spotify and, of course, on Apple Music. This came out on November 11th, I think, but it was only available in stores, only available on the iTunes Store. I'm a subscriber to Apple Music. I was looking forward to listening to it that day, but we heard a week before from Bloomberg that we probably weren't going to see it on week 1, and then 2 or 3 weeks went by, and we are finally seeing it now. I know it's still rolling out, so if you don't see it right now, you should see it very soon, but it is on Spotify, it is on Apple Music now, and presumably other streaming services will follow. That is going to wrap up this episode of Apple News. I am excited to listen to T Swift's new album, but if I had to pick one story from this week that I think was the biggest deal, definitely the macOS High Sierra security flaw. I cannot believe that slipped through the cracks and that every Mac running macOS High Sierra was affected by this bug that allowed anyone to log in as root. But it is fixed now, so everything's good to go. Let me know down below in the comment section, out of all the stories, which one you found the most interesting. And of course, if you enjoyed watching this video, it does help me out if you take just 1 second to drop a like down below. Of course, you're going to hear the plug as you always do. Merchandise is out. I've got this iPhone 10 shirt and a few others at iupdateos.com/merch. You get a t-shirt, and you also help support the channel. If you want to buy one, I would really appreciate it. And finally, guys, for more videos like this in the future, hit subscribe down below. I've been Sam. I hope all of you are doing great, and I'll talk to you in my next video.